Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. My name is Chris Salem, your host. You found us here at the TALRadio platform. Hope that you are enjoying all the content that is shared here at TALRadio. We've been here now for over 3 years, and we are always excited to bring in new listeners each and every week here to TALRadio and the Business Influence radio show. Every week, we bring in subject matter experts sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help raise your level of influence and take your brand and business to the next level. If you would like to see future content on a future show, feel free to reach out to us at chris@christophersalem.com. That's chris@christophersalem.com. Well, we got a great show for you today. Our show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct, is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program, taking out all the noise out of social media, but you get to come in and generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with and no more of those noisy notifications. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got a show that today we're going to be talking about Gumbo and Bubble CRAPS. Now, you're probably wondering, what is that? Well, you're going to find out today, and we are here with just a gentleman that I've gotten to know over the last month or so. He is just dynamic in all that he does, and you are definitely going to get a lot of insight from him today. His name is Tony Depa, a political operative and digital marketer. And, he has, been a full stack marketer with 12 plus years of experience propelling early stage startups to success and has a proven ability to craft and execute data-driven marketing campaigns across all digital channels. Now, there is so much more that I can share about Tony, but I will give him the honor to be sharing that throughout today's interview as we cover this topic of Gumbo and Bubble CRAPS. Tony, welcome to the show.
Chris, thank you so much. I think that was Google Gemini that wrote that introduction that I sent to you. So first off, I'm gonna just give your sponsor a little bit more rub. I'm super interested in their product. I am an alumni of Kansas Western University and the University of Louisiana, and I'm very involved with both alumni groups as a donor and a fundraiser. So
I will make a connection
we'll
to
have
this.
to circle. Oh, was that sponsor picked especially for me?
No, it was not. But I am going to connect you with. I will connect you with Rob Finkelstein, the CEO and founder. I will do that.
No, that sounds great. And I'm gonna let you ask the questions, man.
First of all,
I'm here in New Orleans for the first time. That's the first time I've spent a night in downtown New Orleans, probably about 5 years. So it's been a while. Gumbo and Bubble CRAPS was a silly, fictitious autobiographical title of a book that I might write one day. Gumbo, as most people know, is a classic dish served in South Louisiana homes and kitchens. If you're getting gumbo outside of South Louisiana, do it at your own risk. And then Bubble CRAPS is just like any other craps game that you've played, is just post-pandemic, where the open craps tables have been closed. Now, if you go to casinos all over the country or world, you have enclosed bubble craps where you're playing craps. The dice pop up, but you're just playing by yourself. You don't have just like what you were saying about cutting out the noise of social media. Cutting out all the drunk assholes on your left and right at the craps.
Yes.
This is just you and the numbers and the dice. So.
Oh, wow. I love it. Well, let's talk about that. Gumbo, I mean, you're from New Orleans. That's where you're from. You don't live there full time anymore. You live in LA, but nonetheless, let's talk about the title and how it can relate to influence. Like when you think about that title and how you've used it for influence in your career, and not just in your career, it could be anything that you've created impact in the world.
Whoa. Okay. Again, just a slight correction. I'm not from New Orleans. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh, Lafayette. Yes. Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah. From Louisiana.
That was 2 hours west, but this is very much my home. Again, anything south of I-10 in Louisiana, I claim 100%. And yes, and another slight correction, like yes, I live and have lived in LA, but moving forward in 2025, I'm going to very much get back into the digital nomad way of
Got it.
life, where I don't have a permanent address. I'm kind of having some fun on X, where my location is question marks, and people are like, "Oh, well, where do you live?" I'm
Where
like,
is he now?
"Where wouldn't you like to know?" So. Yeah, I've got some, and I'm happy to announce or just talk about it. But like, it looks like I'm going to be for the third time in my life. I'm going to be going back to Australia for work.
Wow,
Some
nice.
some artists that I worked with back in the NFT boom of 2021. They were major artists before I met them. I worked with them, made them a lot of money. NFTs aren't what they once were, but these guys are still top flight artists. So in the works, we've got like a high end kind of art show kind of bubbling up here. So that's kind of one of my big priorities for 2025 at this point.
Great, great. And yeah, and I just wanted to get back to with the question, like, how do you think like that term gumbo and bubble craps, like if you think of it like from a place of like, where does it have a place for influence for you and what you've done
I
in the
think
NFT space and all that?
I think if anyone hears that title and they really know me, and I know that like professionally, I put out that little graphic, the little 8-bit graphic of my head. I mean, I've been using that since before NFTs. I've been using that since 2014. A guy I worked at a video game college with. This is my first full-time in-house marketing job after coaching. He made that for me. I'm like, dude, that's brilliant. Like, I'm gonna just use that as my profile picture moving forward. So a lot of people like to like meet me like, dude, you look just like that picture. I was like, it wasn't meant to be anything different. So
Yeah, that's great.
no, I guess I mean having worked with influencers and I spoke with a potential new client yesterday and she was just, she was sitting in Barcelona, a very bright girl, and she was just like, well, Tony, just tell me about, the influencers you've worked with in the last 6 months. I'm just like, well, I mean, is Kamala Harris an influencer? Is Josh Gad an influencer? Is Rosario Dawson an influencer? Whether you like them or not, they are influential. These are just the influencers that I decide to hang out with. There's
Yeah.
some influencers on the red team too. Um, but no, I think, and the same thing that those folks do, and the things that I've learned for the last 12 years working in politics is that authenticness and genuineness, it does come through. If you get to actually meet a person, knock on their door, make a phone call, get in the room with them, and that's where I feel like I've been really successful in my professional career is that I've always been great in the room, but like, the last 10, 15 years, especially, during the pandemic when everything went virtual and people had conversations like you and I are having, you have to be good at that as well. And so I think just the art of communication has kind of just served me well. And again, just a adopted Catholic Southern guy from Lafayette, Louisiana. Like nothing. What do they say? Like we all come from somewhere,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
and I'm obviously like a big fan of like anybody like from the South that has gone and made or anyone. But I think that term like you're a kid from somewhere, you just happen to grow up on the East Coast and the fancy places like Connecticut and New York City and New Jersey. So it's just same thing.
I love it. I love it. And I love, I love the term and, and it's so catchy. Being, someone that's in this area, Tony, like if you were giving advice to someone in a business, regardless of what industry, what kind of business, what would you share with them? Like would be those first steps to like really create this, not influence to persuade, but like to align with their audiences to build that rapport, trust, respect, that type of thing.
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I mean, especially working in early stage tech, which is very different than like having a mom and pop store. In early stage tech, they're always going to be like we're going to do this many users and we're going to take over this industry and we're going to disrupt this vertical, and they're doing all this so they can get these venture capital dollars. The thing I've learned in my time is that, okay, how are we going to sell the first 10 seats? How are we going to close the first 100 enterprise accounts? Like, tell me, if we're a startup, and I've worked in enough early stage startups and I've done some startup mentoring. I mean, the big thing, how do we monetize? And like, it's crazy to think like, how do you monetize? But in tech, they're like, oh, if you've ever watched the show Silicon Valley, like they explain a lot of it. They're like, oh no, like you don't want revenue like that. That's terrible. Like you want users. So, and if you're just opening up your mom and pop shop, like, hey, who's in your neighborhood? Who's your competition? Who do you know? Like, what is your like kind of footprint gonna be? Like, how are you gonna get those first 10 customers, first 100 customers, first 1,000 customers? Like, I don't like your big ideas are great, but like again, just adopted son of two public school teachers, math and science. Show me like give me the practical reasons. Give me a spreadsheet, you know? And if you're not the person who does the spreadsheets, then you as an entrepreneur need to have hired someone who does the spreadsheets that I could then ask these questions to, because they're all different types of entrepreneurs. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's not one size fits all, and
I
so
mean,
on.
there are people that like they have those big ideas and they're freaking geniuses, and they just and that's the thing. That's another good one. If you're not good at something, hire a person to do it. Don't be threatened by them. Let them be good at what they're at. If
Yeah,
you need to train people and like kind of clone yourself and like and me myself as an agency owner, that's kind of how I approach it. Like, yo, you got to be able to do everything. You got to be able to touch every piece of software. What value are you going to be adding to the team? So, I
yeah,
mean, like right now, I'm about to post for like a digital marketing intern. And I know like this time of year in Europe, they're still chugging right along, doing business. But here in America, like we kind of start to slow down. Like after today, after Friday, tomorrow, like people are checked out and people are certainly not hiring. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are out of work right now or like looking for other work. So like I'm gonna spend maybe less than $40 on LinkedIn and I'm gonna get like 200 like overly qualified applicants. And again, that's just a little
yeah.
growth hack, if you will. Just trying to identify talent.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. No, I love that. And when influence is a process. It's a journey. It evolves over time. You know, share from your experience, either whether working with startups or, anything that you'd like to share that could provide some valuable insight to the listeners and those listening later.
Again, I know people are been tired of talking about politics. It's still top of mind for a lot of people. I've certainly been talking about it a lot less or working in it a lot less. But just like, and I'm not a big Warren Buffett guy or just any type of investment guy, you want to buy low and sell high. Right now, the Democratic brand is it's kind of a low point. It's especially low, unfortunately, where I'm at in Louisiana. Our Louisiana Democrats are scrambling right now, but they've got good people in place, and we're already behind the scenes getting ready our strategies to flip the House and Senate in 2 years. Again, I don't want to talk all about politics, but don't feel sad for me. The work I did in 2024, I won everywhere I was. And so obviously I've had a lot of Republican people call me a loser and tell me why I'm a loser, people I know and people I don't know. And most of them don't get a reply that they really like hearing. So that'd be something we were talking about influence, like know where your brand is. If your brand's kind of needs some dusting up right now, but you've got some capital, this is the time to kind of, kickstart some ideas. Or if you're looking to collaborate with people, you think that their brand is kind of low. That might be not to take advantage of someone, but like, hey, you could like, hey, this is a cool brand. I've seen them do cool stuff. They've been in business for 10 years. And that's another thing. How long has these people been in business? I've been in business with this agency for 12 years. Like, I can give you data as to what has worked in the past and what hasn't worked in the past. And trust me, a lot hasn't worked. Like I tell my parent, my godfather, who's a CPA, parent, I always have a plan. Sometimes they ain't worth the shit, but I always have a plan, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. No, this is great. I love what you're sharing here and such great insight. So, as we mentioned, yeah, I know for influence for me, what's always what's always built my brand and helped build my business from influence was always being consistent, always operating from those set of core values and so on. Can you share from your insight what your take is on that? Like, the importance of values and then also being consistent in how you share, leverage content, whatever that may be.
I see. I feel like you're just like setting me up because I'm going to talk about you and just and your consistency in your messaging and branding. Just in the time, I mean, he's not lying. We've only known each other for about a month. And just what I've seen from your brand and like what you do, it's very consistent in what you do, and the processes are in place. And I guess the kids, the Gen Zers, would say, I guess game recognizes game a little bit. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
I see what you're doing, and I like it, and that's why I'm on this show, this medium right now. So, and I love that for us, like for guys like you and me that like 20, 30 years ago, if you weren't fucking Ted Koppel or someone else, like you couldn't really like have a show. Like there were radio hosts, and obviously radio was much bigger back then. But it's the same. I work with tons of musicians, and like, yes, it's very hard for musicians to make money. Just for any musicians out there, like if you're not touring or you're not selling a shit ton of merch, don't expect to get rich on your Spotify streams.
Yeah.
But for musicians who want to get their music to the people, there's never been a better time to be a musician. And I think for guys like you and me that are like that we have a message and we have something to say, the internet and social media has kind of given us those avenues to do so. So.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Yeah, absolutely. What would you be your take now, now that we have, AI is here to stay. It's everywhere. And, I'm a big believer. I never want to become dependent on a tool, but you have to use tools to your advantage. How do you see, I know, I kind of know what you're going to maybe say, but I'd love to hear it. What's your take on AI as a tool for, leveraging and just enhancing influence?
Hey Vega, could you please tell Chris in the audience how you feel that AI is going to continue to leverage in the space of influence moving forward?
AI will likely play a larger role in influencer marketing by personalizing content recommendations and matching influencers with brands, automating tasks like campaign tracking and reporting, generating creative content like ad copy and visuals, analyzing massive data sets to identify trends and predict successful campaigns.
So I think AI is going to be pretty important. I think
Yeah.
how you leverage it is going to be a lot. It's never. It's just like, and you and I, we haven't even started talking about sports. If you talk about the NFL or any sport now, like the analytics, the analytics are going to give you the best guess, but the people that are going to still be successful in sports, you're going to have coaches and managers and players that are going to make calls in certain situations based on all these analytics. Um, one term I've heard is like the chat bots like supercharge your ideas, and people are like, oh, well, I'm not an idea guy, Tony. I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I am again, it's unpaid endorsement. Google Gemini just because I've always been a big fan of the Google suite of products as and we've talked about that, where like enterprise
Yep.
level people do the Microsoft Office and they got to pay through the nose for their SaaS freaking agreements. Where Google, yeah, they have a paid version, but like you can use the Google suite for free. And let's be honest, Google still knows the most about the most. So for my money, and I'm paying what, $10 a month, maybe $20 a month for the Google Gemini Plus. What I've been doing and just like showing people and like or like business owners, like guy owned a restaurant. I was like, oh, can you tell me about Gilbert's Mexican off of Pico in West LA? And went for like 20 minutes, and he was just like, oh my God, like he's like, that's true. We got to work on that. And like, and what's so crazy, this guy was a restaurant owner and he was driving my Uber Black. So I think like I'm definitely like spreading the gospel about like it seemed like ChatGPT was the first one like kind of really out the doors, like a really great product. Um, as you can imagine these days, I'm not the hugest fan of Elon Musk, but I am a subscribed blue check mark member of his platform. His Grok AI is pretty powerful too, especially for like pictures. Like, hey Grok, give me a picture of Chris and Tony riding a shark in outer space, and I'll be damned if like the first one or two pictures isn't just that. It's pretty powerful. Um, so yeah, I mean
Wow.
AI is very much here to stay, and so is blockchain. If you're part of these people that are like, "Oh, crypto is a scam," like it's not. It's the future of money. Don't bet on the Doge coins and the Shibu Inus. And I even have one now that I went eat some Thai food and I got a message like, check out I don't want to lie this name and like maybe this gets it a bump, but it's called Mudang. It's a meme coin from Thailand, and I've picked up about 100 or $2 of it. If you're going to invest in crypto, invest in the coins that are based on blockchain technology. Again, not financial advice, just coming from a dude with a math and science background who's worked in this stuff. And I know like, oh, well, made money in Doge, and invest long term in the cryptocurrencies that are based on technology. So,
Got it. Blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. Yes, I love it. So with that, that's some great advice and stuff like that. So, going back to, the title again, Gumbo, and what, I
it's a
just love that
working
Gumbo and
title.
Bubble Craps.
It was something that one of my best girlfriends, she's just like, Gumbo and Bubble Craps, a memoir. I'm like, this.
Now that I'm there, I got to go get some gumbo. I haven't had some good gumbo in a while, and I know I
No,
can't
if you're
get
in
it
New
good
York City,
gumbo
I'm
up
sure
here.
you could find in New York City, I'm sure you could
Yeah,
find a decent. But remember, if you order gumbo and it has tomato and it's red in color, run, don't walk, run away from that place. It must be dark brown in color.
that's where you're right. Every most good gum, it's always been dark brown in color. Yes, it has.
If you
Yeah,
go to like a Ruth Chris, I'm sure they'll have a cup of gumbo for you.
yeah.
There's lots of places. A Landry's, anyone under the
One
Landry's.
of the chain steakhouses,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
upper. Yeah,
yeah. You could find it, but yeah, beware of those gumbo, and like and just for me, gumbo, it's just we take our the men from South Louisiana, the Cajuns, like we take our cooking game pretty seriously, and like it's kind of like a rite of passage to like learn how to cook a proper gumbo. I have a very small family, so we've kind of adopted doing it for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those are like the two main days to make it. But if you do it right, it takes about 4 or 5 hours. People come over. It's always better the next day. When I was in North Carolina, I was telling you, visiting my buddy who's associate athletic director at UNC, or excuse me, at NC State. We went to UNC and won.
yeah.
But I made a seafood gumbo with about $300 worth of seafood from the Whole Foods, and then he had about 2 pounds of this Atlantic shrimp. We're used to the Gulf shrimp. He's on that East Coast stuff now, and it was the best gumbo I've ever made ever.
That's
So
fabulous.
yeah.
Wow.
And it freezes. Gumbo freezes well, so
It freezes well, and you can
make too
reheat it.
much, you freeze it on a cold day, reheat it. Like, oh,
There
Tony,
you go. Well, that
Tony
I'm going to
cooked
be
that gumbo
that's
so good
where
that
I
day.
am right now. That's going to be for a little while here. Well, I know we're towards the end of the show here, Tony, and I want to make sure that people get, reach out to you, get to know you better. If you can let people know, how to get best in contact with you, what you're up to, and anything you like to share with them, in the next minute or so.
I am like I tell people, I am easy to find, man. LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. It's Tony Depa 11. X is Depa at Depa Tony. And the website is, and it's just a landing page right now. We recently rebranded from Depa Management Group to Depa Labs, so it's really just a landing page. There'll be like a fuller website soon, but that's just DEPALABS.LA. So
excellent. Well, Tony, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule.
Oh, thank
to be
you.
with us.
You're such the flatterer with all your nice things you say about people.
Well, everybody, we encourage everybody, we hope you got value from Tony. Reach out to Tony on LinkedIn, Instagram, also his landing page, Twitter, X as well. And again, if you have any questions and you direct it to us, we'll make sure that Tony does get that information, and we'll make sure he gets back to you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we are committed to taking your business and personal brand to the next level through the level of influence. And we hope to see you next week at the same time. Take care, everybody.